Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Touchdown Talk. I'm your host, Brett Smith. Week 8 is upon us. A lot of implications this week with a lot of these matchups, big time matchups. Um, Really, it's make or break for some of these teams because either you get this win and it propels you a little higher, or you get this win and your season starts going down a little bit. So we'll get into some of my previews and predictions for this week's best games, and then throwing in some of my best bets as well. I do have one for tomorrow night, and then I have 5 for Saturday. So without further ado, actually before that, big news out of Indiana this afternoon. Kurt Signetti, 8 million or 8 years, $93 million. That's a big punch right there to the old face of Penn State. Um, you're number one on the coaching board, interchangeable with Matt Rule, I guess, how some people look at it. Your number one just gets wiped away like that. But, good on Indiana. Securing that guy for the next 8 years after what he's done for the first two, smart move. And I know it gives up a lot of money, but it sures your coach up for the next 8 years. So, well done, Indiana. Penn State still searching. I mean, I figure they're going to land someone. Who knows when it will be, but they'll land someone of high caliber. So, I don't know if it's someone who can replace James Franklin. I know I talked about this last video, but we'll see. Without further ado, let's get into week 8. So, Friday night game. We have Cal versus North Carolina, California, and it's a 9:30 start, I believe, maybe even 10. Um, Another one of these ACC Big Ten type of travel situations where UNC gets the short end of the stick. Um, yeah, it's tough because at this point UNC is flying 3,000 miles and then is playing at what would be midnight, pretty much, for over on the East Coast. Um, Not ideal, and certainly not because this UNC team is frankly not good. A lot of drama and rumors around Bill Belichick right now. Um, it's just hard to back this team when they haven't shown me anything this season. And what they've shown me is not good. Um, I can't pronounce the Cal's quarterback name. Cal's quarterback, but Jared Sagawa, yeah, you get the point. um, he kind of looks like the real deal. He looks comfortable in Cal's offense. You saw against Duke last week, I believe it was, that they got off to a hot start. And then Duke's defense just kind of turned up the notch a little bit, even down a few defenders. Um, but part of that was their run game also complemented the passing attack. So with UNC's defense that can't stop anything, give me Cal in this spot. Everything's just kind of favoring them. You go down the list, check it off. It just favors Cal in this. I expect them to win big. I think this is kind of a turnaround game from Duke last week. So, yeah, give me Cal. Now we move into our Saturday games. Kicking off in Nashville, Tennessee, we have LSU versus Vanderbilt. Um, Vandy favored for the first time. I don't know if that stat was true, but I saw on Twitter for the first time in 177 conference games. So since 1978, I don't believe that because I think they were favored against Arkansas when Arkansas had Chad Morris, and they came in and clobbered us. I mean, I would expect that to be a favorite right there. but they haven't. But Vanderbilt hasn't faced a defense like LSU's this season yet. The closest is being Alabama. So really, how is Diego Pavia going to respond? Because you're facing a secondary that is much more well, and a rushing attack that is, or defensive line. Sorry, again facing the rushing attack from Pavia's legs, from Vandy. I mean, just as a whole. So how do you kind of break their defense? Um, Vanderbilt. It's going to have to be Pavia's arm winning them this game. And considering that the second half of Alabama was not pretty with his arm, whenever they bottled him up and were able to actually contain him, it doesn't lead me to believe that this could be any different, especially if LSU starts off hot. If they get the ball first and drive down and score and then hold you to nothing, like a 3-and-out, it could be a long day for Vanderbilt. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Kind of a quick recap there. I mean, Vandy's defense is good, but I think LSU's offense may have started gaining some traction a little bit. And so I think, along with that national championship caliber defense that I've preached all year, this could be a weekend where their offense can step up and step into play. So I am riding the underdog, which is crazy since they're ranked 10th. But give me LSU plus 2.5, even taking the money line as well. I feel confident in that. Yeah, I really think that LSU gets the job done, gets a much needed road win against a good Vanderbilt team that kind of is a little resume builder. So next up, we have Texas A&M, Arkansas, in what the forecast is projecting to be a downpour, at least raining consistently the whole time. This game is in the 60s for game totals, and with Arkansas's defense, it's going to be like that all year. There's no reason for it not to be. A&M is looking like maybe one of the most complete A&M teams I've seen since Kellen Mond, 2019, maybe 2018. Marcel Reed is one of the front runners, top three in the Heisman this season, and rightfully so. His passing has been phenomenal, much better than last year. And for Arkansas, Taylor Green, if they weren't 2-4, would also be right up there in that. So you have dual threat quarterback versus dual threat quarterback going off. But really, if this game is pouring like it is, then I expect the passing side of the offense for both teams to be taken out completely. Now, I'm not saying that there's just going to be no passes the whole game and there's going to be 70 runs by each team. But it's not going to be big play after big play type of passing. Or, I mean, who knows? It could be. I don't see that happening. I see a lot of on the ground, ground and pound, running the ball first type of mentality from both teams because both teams are capable of it. Especially Texas A&M with Le'Veon Moss and Marcel Reed against Arkansas's defense. But I expect it to be a little lower scoring just because I think possessions are limited this game. I think it could be anywhere from the 28 to 24, 31-24 type of ball game. But give me the under in this. I know that's crazy. I've taken every Arkansas over or that I've given to y'all. This just I don't know. It's a tough read, but the rain I really feel like holds the scoring back as to what it could be. So give me under 61.5. I won't be taking that often with Arkansas, but yeah. Other 2:30 game, SEC on ABC. We have College Game Day. We have the game of the week, Georgia Ole Miss. Georgia coming off of a much given win. I don't want to say given because their defense stepped up, but their offense didn't really do anything crazy last week against Auburn. And they kind of did what I said that they needed to do. Excuse me. Which is contain Jackson Arnold in his legs and make him throw the ball. And whenever they did that, in the second half, there was no scoring. So then that just propelled Georgia and their momentum to carry over to the offensive side and end up winning by 10. But enough about that. Ole Miss and their run defense is one of the worst in the country. Now on the other side, Georgia's pressure rate is also one of the worst in the country. So if you're giving Trinidad Chambliss all this time to sit back and throw, with this offense, he's going to find a ton of spots to throw to that game. Now, Georgia's secondary is pretty solid, like always. So I think that kind of, I don't know who gives the edge there, but Kwan Lacey is going to have a big game. I think getting east and west quickly, but also getting up to north and south is going to be key. Georgia, on the other hand, if they can run the ball this game, then it could be a long game for Ole Miss's defense. But Georgia has been consistent in and out and having slow starts in the first half. And if you give Ole Miss a 7-0 lead early on, you give Ole Miss a 7-0 lead early on, and they kind of just come out with that momentum, and you're playing catch-up, it could be a long day for Kirby Smart and this Georgia team. I could very well see it. I expect Lane Kiffin to dial up one of his better play calls this game. I really do. He's going to need it. Touchdown underdog, and you're the higher ranked team. But I also think if Trinidad Chambliss is kind of looking a little rough, like he did last weekend against Washington State, I don't think he'll hesitate to go back to Austin Simmons in a much-needed, much-win game. So, knowing what's on the line for both teams, I think Georgia wins outright. But give me Ole Miss plus 7.5. I think that touchdown's a lot. If it's not, then hey, more power to Georgia there. But I think Ole Miss 7.5 is, I don't think it is my play. 7.5 just feels like too much with this Ole Miss offense. So I expect them to keep it close the whole game. A lot of fireworks, potentially. I know the under's set somewhat low, but yeah. Moving on to our last. I'm sorry, I have two more. Missouri at Auburn. Jordan Hare, nighttime again. I've seen a lot of news about a Auburn captain kicked off the team, whereas the report was that he stepped away. Teammates are coming out and saying that he did not. He was actually kicked off the team. So, a lot of not actually knowing what's true is going on right now with the Auburn program. That seems a little toxic, especially after the loss you took last week. Trying to keep your focus in this game is going to be really hard because right now, Hugh Freeze is playing for his job, or he's coaching for his job, and these players, I can't say much, but they're not really backing it up. And granted, you've had a tough 7 games, 6 games, however many. But it doesn't get any easier here. With Missouri they can't drop 2 straight. Missouri cannot, or else their playoff hopes go out the window. So you're going to get everything that Eli Drinkwitz and this Missouri team has to offer. Now, that's a lot of what Jackson Arnold does with Bo Prabula, running the ball. And if you can't contain the run, but if you start containing the run, he could actually throw it over your head. He is capable of doing that. It is something we haven't seen from Jackson Arnold. So Auburn opening up as a favorite at the beginning of the week and now has slipped to an underdog. I'm taking it before it moves anymore. I think Auburn is really hurt right now, both from the last game against Georgia, and this week with just kind of everything that circulated. Hugh Freeze may be losing that locker room a little bit, and we'll be able to tell with this game. So, as much as I don't like Missouri, I'm backing them here. Give me Missouri money line at minus 120. I think they win. I think they cover the minus 1.5. So, with that, we get to our last game, night game, and it is the Irish of Notre Dame against the Fighting Trojans of South Carolina. At Notre Dame being almost a 10-point favorite. I question that a lot because from what I've seen from USC this year, their offense is next to none, and it's looked how it has in other years. And they actually have more of a defense this year as to what you've seen with Lincoln Riley's previous years at USC. And did I say South Carolina earlier? I'm in Southern California. I think this is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the night. I think it's going to be one of the most explosive games just because the secondary of Notre Dame is not great. And Jade Maeva can take advantage of that. He can throw over the top to Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon all day. And it wouldn't surprise me if he has 350 passing yards and they throw the ball with him 50 times. Now on the other side with Notre Dame, you have Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, a two-headed monster in the backfield that, when given 50 touches, 40 touches between the two, they'll go for 300 yards easily. And CJ Carr really stepping into form this year. You've seen him elevate as a passer. I think he's settled in. He's gotten comfortable. So I think you also have that in play as well against maybe USC hadn't been tested yet, and maybe this defense really hasn't faced a true opponent. I know with Michigan last week it was a shellacking, but it's a different week. That's what we always say. I expect this to be a very, very high scoring game. 61 feels too low for this. I could see it in the 70s easily. So give me USC and Notre Dame over 61. I would, if you want to take a side, I would take USC to cover. But also, it being a 10-point spread is a little weird, a little off. I know Notre Dame has to have every game from here on out, being an independent and being 4-2 right now. And so they're going to try to put as many points up on the board as they can and beat you by however bad they can because they have to. It's nothing against you. It's just they have to make their case a different way than someone in the Power 4 conference does, where they're winning the SEC championship, ACC championship, all that. It's tough. They make a good schedule. They have to. Or else if you played 12 cupcakes, then it's hard to really advocate for them getting in, especially since what we saw previously whenever they played Clemson early on in the college football playoff and got destroyed. It's because they weren't playing that equivalent level just yet. Now they are, and they've elevated their game even more. So, give me this game to go over. It's one of my best plays on here. So, if I could give you 3 best bets, here they are. LSU plus 2.5, Missouri money line, and Notre Dame over. Those are my 3 best bets out of the 6 bets that I have this week. Little recap: LSU plus 2.5 money line, Arkansas and Texas A&M under 61.5, Missouri money line, Ole Miss plus 7.5, Cal minus 9.5 tomorrow night, and then USC versus Notre Dame over 61. So, guys, that's all I have for you today. If you're new here, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Just let me know if you guys like it or not, what you guys want to see different. But as for that, I will talk to you guys after this weekend. See ya.